Do you want to just have somebody from room one just give a brief overview of the kind of discussion that was going on in room one?
Woman first, or?
Any volunteers? Don't be frightened. We're all friends.
I'm happy to say something. I was trying to put in one more post-it, and now I lost the left-hand margin with the, there it is. So I just wanted to have an example along with Billy's. Are we all back together? Is everyone here?
Yep, I think we're all there. Yep. I'll share my screen so we can just see the board.
So there's a couple of ideas there, and group add them, keep adding them in. I'll just I don't know. Should I moderate or should I say like
yeah,
Nick mentioned Willie maybe being a face for Agile in education, so making it personalized by using Willie, if that's something that he's interested in, since he's the most well-known proponent, user, and trainer.
You mean a poster boy?
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
Willie, you as a poster boy?
No.
No. I knew you were going to say that.
I think it'd be good.
The beard over the last year, I think, qualifies.
Yeah, that is okay, but my hair is off.
I don't. Okay.
I mentioned to our group just having a common space for research. Willie then said, well, like here for example, is a podcast. Just to round that out, I threw in the link to a podcast that I did with Scrum Alliance when I was very new to this. So if you listen to it, you'll see that I was quite a neophyte. But if we only advertise one particular piece, we're not maybe doing justice as if we have several different takes on what Agile in education actually means. If we had one spot to really showcase the work, it would make it look like a much larger movement because there are multiple people involved.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's brilliant. Can we have a spokesperson for room 2, please?
Sure. So we talked about bringing attention to what Agile is, and since there's so many people that are unfamiliar with what it is, getting teachers involved, so really catering to bringing awareness to teachers about this event so that they can come and contribute, as well as parents. We talked about collaborating with other institutions like universities, maybe collaborating with different institutions around the world, and kind of making it a little bit more, if we wanted to go that far, making it more, I mean, we're doing it now, right? We're all from different areas, making it more of a global type of experience by pairing universities with school-age schools, and maybe hosting the event at the university, since the university already has a lot of the educational resources, or students, there's professors, people that may even be studying Scrum, you know, in their school. It would be a good foundation to host something like this. We talked about children being a part of the event and possibly doing activities with adults, and taking, since Agile is all about leadership and autonomy, allowing them to sort of take role in that. Those who have had the experience with EduScrum or Agile in education. Let's see, what did we talk about? So just lots of workshops, making it more interactive. I know, who was it that was, someone in our group, was it Paul? Carl, I'm sorry, Carl had done some work with finding ways to make Agile a little bit more interactive, since we are all still stuck at home and doing this all on Zoom. So finding ways to make it more, so that it's easier to share ideas and network with other people, and to actually engage in an Agile type of activity or team building type of activity.
Okay.
Can I ask a question there quickly?
Yeah.
Many of you work with businesses who are, who obviously want to use Agile because they think it's right for their business. If you were to organize this, wouldn't you invite them along? Because if you had employers going along, schools would be more likely to take part and teachers would be more likely to take part, because you can combine it with a careersy type thing, and that would sell it more effectively, maybe.
Yeah, so it's a good thought.
It depends more on the age group, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be a good idea for the older age group, I think.
I think one of the arguments that I think might be quite powerful is that, irrespective of the pedagogical reasons for wanting to go down this route, if businesses are using Agile, then we need to be preparing young people to go into businesses, into the business world, having these skills. So I think that's an important message, aside from all of the other kind of emotional discussions about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing or the right thing or the wrong thing. That's on its own, I think, a good enough reason to introduce it into schools. So that kind of ties in with that.
At the moment, careers is flavour of the month as well. That seems to be on the rise in terms of interest in schools.
Can I just say, I mean, there's a lot of school talk, certainly within the UK system and the education system, about the skills for tomorrow being things around critical thinking and problem solving. So are these not attributes that they're already trying to teach youngsters within the school environment, albeit within the education system? And so these are skills that we want people to enter within the workplace. So I'm just thinking about the language that you use with schools. So critical thinking and problem solving is things that are already in the curriculum. So is it that sort of language that we should be using, as opposed to necessarily Agile language, to get them on board with this sort of thing?
Yeah, there's certainly a skill set that sits behind Agile, if you use it in education, that mirrors what you just said.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think.
And the team working is another one, isn't it?
Yeah, collaboration, team working, all the soft skills, negotiation, all of that.
And it comes down to also to values, which is underpins all of the Agile movements, all of the Agile frameworks are the values, and it's about a mindset. It's not a series of tick boxes. If you do all of these 20 things, you will have a brilliant product or a brilliant solution. It's about a mindset and a way of thinking, which is fundamentally different from anything that came before.
Which is more difficult to sell to schools.
Yes.
Tick boxes always probably better.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just
that's true.
Can I just mention also, I know I mentioned it in the chat, and I think Andrew, you mentioned that is about governor. As a former parent governor myself, and there may be some other governors in this Zoom call tonight, but we're bringing experiences of being in the workplace, and we're trying to we may work with Agile or systems thinking, whatever it might be, and about bringing those practices within, certainly trying to do things differently in, say, governors meetings, etc. So parents obviously are probably as close to the action as anyone will be in terms of trying to influence them. They're a key stakeholder, but I think governors as well, and certainly within academy trusts as well, which are multi-pronged. So I think, I think they're really, I wouldn't say they have a great load of power, really, in my experience, but certainly the right governor can certainly bend the ear. And certainly a good chair of governors can bend the ear.
Definitely, yeah.
Really good point. Okay, it's 8:05, so we've got 25 minutes. I know it's challenging and ambitious, but it would be nice if we could have just a couple of things, a couple of concrete actions that we can take out of this. So would people be happy in going back to the groups and trying to come up with those in the next kind of 15 minutes?
Andy, can I just ask a question?
Of course you can.
I was really interested in the idea that a lot of this has come from business, and that Willie is somebody who has managed to apply the principles to education. So I'd be really interested in having a few minutes of him talking about how he applied it within education, what it looked like when he was using it or is using it. Is that possible?
Yeah. Well, it's possible from my point of view. Are you happy with that, Willy?
Yeah, yes, I can talk for hours, but I put just in the chat podcast, and when you listen to the podcast for half an hour, then after this meeting, I think it's more effective.
Okay. Is that okay, Liz?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Walking. We've got 10 minutes left, so can we manage a 3-minute kind of wrapping up summary from each of the 2 rooms? Is that possible? Can we have someone do that from room 1?
We can time it and be ruthless.
Yeah. Right, timer started.
Nicole, I think you took some of the notes, right, for our group?
Sorry, yeah, I'm just writing a few more. I don't really know if we got really actionable. Well, I guess we kind of did. We've kind of gone for how can we approach schools rather than going necessarily, you can go to individual teachers, but could you approach schools in a way that talks about careers and skill-based learning? Because that's a big thing right now in the UK in schools. So how could we approach that side and go in that way? Head teachers was another idea rather than just teachers individually. I think that was kind of it. If anyone wants to add anything else.
Hacer talleres para profes como en su conjunto.
Yeah, we also talked a little bit about getting teachers together to collaborate ideas of what they've already been doing that might be agile already. So, and kind of working with that instead of imposing agile, I guess, so quickly, but just more getting to know what their skill sets are and what they've already developed that's comparable to agile and building on that.
Brilliant. Superb ideas. Good. You've only had a minute and a half. Do you want any more, or should we move on to room 2?
I'd just like to say I'd be interested to know what's coming out of the festival ideas, because I think that might give us something to talk about. I mean, for me personally, I know some teachers. I've got a couple that live across the road, never spoken to them about Agile at all. My daughter's still at school, so I go into that school from time to time. So if there was a festival proposed or planned at sometime in the future, then that just might give me something to talk to them about, and then open up the subject.
There you are, room 2. You've had a beautiful, eloquent introduction.
So when's the festival?
Yeah, when is it?
Next week? No. I took some notes, so maybe I should just go ahead. But coming up with actions was kind of hard, but we came up with more like questions on what we need to answer to make it a reality. So, but there's some few ideas as well. So the idea of an unconference, where you don't really have an agenda, and it's more it's Google it. I don't have time to go into details, but yeah, the idea of an unconference, or more like the idea of because it's celebrating, right? It's a festival, so it's not just a conference where you have talks, because that's just boring. So more like a party, right? Where maybe you don't even know how many people turn up. It's you invite people on Facebook and it goes viral, and then just people turn up. Or something. Ideas like that. I don't know if it's practical or feasible, but hey, that's kind of what came up. But I guess the action that we have is making a list of questions that needs to be answered. Like, when would it be? Would it be online? Who do you invite? Do we even have to hunt for specific speakers and event people, or is it more application based, right? Like people apply to speak, and then you have a review panel to make the selection, or how is it going to work? What else did we say? To look for festivals that kind of operate already in this sort of field, in the education world, because how do they operate? They might be able to learn from their mistakes and success, right? And how do you? Another question is how to communicate this, right? In terms of advertising it, is it through like being modern, with blogs and hashtags and stuff like that, or videos, or what? And also there was a last point on culture, because depending on how much of a reach you have, if it's global or more how would you say, more narrow in scope, like if it's just Europe or just a country or something, there might be different cultures around education. So how do you target that then? Is there different ways of doing education? I mean, yeah. So lots of questions to answer, basically. to go.
Can I just say something there? Have you heard
Sure.
of BET?
Yeah, of course.
Have you heard of BET?
Nick, you mentioned that, right? BET is a BETT, right? Yes.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
BET is probably the one place that most teachers go to, and I know that BET this year, because they've been talking to me, are looking at doing it remotely as a conference.
Yeah.
And you could attach yourself to something like that, and then get yourself a big audience because it's already up and running.
And the last thought I have on this, which I thought about earlier actually, but that maybe you don't actually even want to use the word agile because nobody knows in that world really what it is. I mean, we have a few people here, but I guess generally speaking, it's it doesn't really mean anything. So perhaps it has to have a different marketing twist, to get people in, like new ways of working or something, or new ways of teaching. I don't know.
My ex-colleague and friend Luke Edwards, who's in first session, he's started using the expression progressive thinking, which is kind of a little more meaningful to people than agile, but that's good. That's just.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that's a really good point about the kind of absence of the terminology, because I work in kind of the adult learning and development world, and Agile's been kicking around as a terminology for 3 or 4 years, probably like many industries. And I think L&D are pretty sick of it because they don't really understand what it is and no one's really actually doing it, but we're trying to thrust it and ram it down people's throats. If you talk about it in a different sort of way and in terminology that they understand, then they're a bit more receptive to it.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes remaining. Hopefully you guys found that interesting. I found it thoroughly fascinating and interesting, and I wish I could have taken part in all the debates, and we could have gone on for another hour or two. What I will do, I will have a look at the notes that you guys have all made, and I'll try and sift out some things to put on a Kanban board. If you're interested in having access to that, then if you could please email me a note, just so I know what email address you have. If you've got a Trello account already, if you can email me the email that you use for Trello. If you don't have a Trello account, then just make sure I've got a copy of your email address, and I'll make sure you're all invited to that Trello board. And hopefully over time it will build up into a Kanban system that we can use to practice Agile ourselves. That would be good. A couple of other things. This may change, I don't know, after our discussions, but I was thinking maybe next month might be a time to maybe have a case study session, because if we can get a few people from education, coalface teachers along, then I don't know whether the timing is ever going to be right, but maybe the beginning of the school year is perhaps more energy than at the end. I don't know. So if anybody is interested in that as an idea for next month, and you'd like to chat for 20 minutes or so on your experiences, your case studies, then that'd be fantastic. So please do get in touch. And also, if you've got any ideas about how you think we should organize these things going forwards, or you want to get involved in kind of setting these sessions up, then that'd be fantastic, because up to now it's just been stuff coming out of my head, and I don't think I've got the right answers. So the more input I can get from you guys about what we do next and how we shape things, then the better it's going to be for everybody. So please do give me your feedback, and if you've got any spare energy in your busy lives to help out with arranging and organizing these things, then that would be really, really appreciated.
Andy, can we get a copy of the 6 sheets here that you have on
Yes,
the board?
what I will do is I will make sure that the recordings of we don't get recordings of the individual sessions, which is a shame, but when we're all in the central room, those videos will go online. I'll also make the Jamboards, well, you've still got access to the Jamboards, but I'll take a PDF of those and make those available on the SlideShare. And I'll also write something probably this coming weekend to put on my blog site, just to summarize the discussions that we've had today. So all of that stuff's going to be available, and I'll make sure that you know where to find it when it's all ready. Is there anything else anyone would like to ask or say before we call it a day?
Thank you very much, Andy, and all others, of course.
It's a pleasure, and thank you very much for your time, all of you. Willie, I know in particular you're incredibly busy, so it's great to have you here, but it's great to have all of you here because I feel there's a lot of energy around about this, and it's great to tap into it. So thank you all very, very much indeed, and hopefully I'll see you along here next time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.